3 years ago today, Donald John Trump was elected President of the United States, and Democrats have been mentally unstable ever since. That includes Nancy Pelosi, the scary clown from the movie It on Capitol Hill, Adam Inchworm Schiff. Now, even members of Congress are calling him Shifty Schiff now and Shiftless Schiff. And 3 years of mental illness. How's it working out for you? We're still laughing at you, but you are pretty scary. You're creepy scary. You should probably get over it. Trump won. Hillary still lost. He's going to win again. Just get used to it or move. Isn't it romantic? Good Friday to you and welcome. We're at 888-630-9625, 888-630-9625. We have many wonderful stories to share with you today, and some not so wonderful stories, because there are a lot of crazy people out there, and you know what we call them? Democrats. 888-630-9625. A little talk about your phony baloney impeachment. Today, the date today is November 8th. Is that right? November 8th, 2019. Now let's see. Let's tick back. Tick. November 8th, 2018. November 8th, 2017. The impeachment effort was already well underway. November 8th. Hang on. Wait a minute. November 8th, 2016. What happened? It was 3 years ago today that Donald John Trump was elected President of the United States against all odds. All the news media people on this day 3 years ago. We should probably play some Steve Kornacki on MSNBC. No, more people are coming out in Madison, Wisconsin, and Hillary's still going to win. There's one apartment block that hasn't voted yet, and we're hoping that they'll leave home, roll out of bed, their crack-induced haze, their welfare-induced slumber, and they're going to go vote for Hillary Clinton, and she's going to win. She's going to win Madison. She's going to win the county, win the state, and win the presidency. But alas, it was not to be 3 years ago today.
What a strange event.
What a strange event it was. Chris Matthews, who was once an altar boy at a mental institution in Philadelphia, thought it was a strange event. They were all very distraught by this. In fact, they're still not over it. It was very traumatic. Imagine these people having to go through World War II. They just walk through the rest of their lives bugging, walking along with their hands shaking and their eyes jigging around in their head, confused by everything around them. These people couldn't have survived. Even just staying home for World War II, they couldn't have survived.
We can now report that Hillary Clinton will not be coming to the Javits Center tonight.
Will not.
Will not.
Will not.
So what do we take from that, Jen?
Well,
I think what we take from that is it's not clear whether the campaign is prepared to concede.
This was great. Well, that's a very gentle way of putting it. She's upstairs eating that pie from, that movie, The Help. She was, did you see that movie, The Help? She was upstairs eating that pie. That's what she was doing. That was her election night. And you know what? She's been eating that same pie every day. Every single day. That pie from The Help is on Hillary's menu every single day. And she gobbles it up because it's all she has. It was so great. Election night was just 3 years ago today. And Sergeant Pepper called the band to play.
The scene here is so different than it was a few hours ago when people were happy and relaxed. I have been looking around the room at people who are stone-faced. Some of them have been crying. We have seen people leaving the venue, including some who have been sitting on the risers behind the podium where Hillary Clinton is supposed to speak.
Their backdrop people with their "We Love Hillary" T-shirts. They were sobbing, and tears were streaming down with the clown makeup rolling down, and they were walking out like zombies. I remember, you'd think that September 11th had happened or something, but here's what the problem they had. The problem they had was they believed CNN. They believed, and I use CNN almost as a metaphor for the rest of the news media, they believed what they were being told by a phony, baloney, corrupt Democrat Party-controlled news media, and then they were lied to. The polls were wrong. All right. Now, what did I say on Election Day? I said he can win this. Now, it's close. And, they got all the prognosticators and stuff. And remember this, the path to victory and the narrow lane to victory and the big blue wall. Remember the blue wall? Boy, that's really when the big lie, that might be the first gigantic domino in the giant lie. The gurgle lie. The big, because I learned my history from the Reverend Al Charlatan at MSDNC. And he made me aware of something I didn't know about. Apparently a member of the National Socialist Workers' Party of Germany named Gurgle. Nobody had ever heard of. He's an obscure figure in the Socialist Workers' Party there. Gurgle, Joseph Gurgle. And if you make a lie so big, apparently it was in Mein Kampf too. The leader of the Socialist Workers' Party had a book called My Struggle. And there it was, the big lie. And then he hired this Gurgle guy, apparently, and gurgle. Make the lie so big. And the big lie started. Now, if you're Democrats out there and you're still thinking there was Russian collusion or that Ukraine phone call's impeachable or something, I just want to refer you to election night. I just want to refresh your memory a little bit on election night with a little bit of refresher stuff, because it's important to remember. Don't have newsheimers like all the anchors at CNN and NBC.
I haven't had time to do a survey yet, but I think Moscow is going to be one of the few places this is going to be greeted with enthusiasm. I think it's going to create a lot of worry in the capitals of the world.
Moscow. That was Bob Schieffer of CBS News. There's the only place they were playing the Russia card on election night. There it is, Russia. Now, but Bob, Hillary Clinton's opposition research paper, which you laughingly called a dossier, came from Russian intelligence and Ukrainian sources and was fed into the FISA courts so the Obama administration could spy on members of the Trump campaign. And you think Russia's going to be happy that Hillary lost? They were working with Hillary. They had Hillary in their back pocket. They funneled money into the Clinton Foundation, more than $100 million to the Clinton Foundation. And they were working with Christopher Steele, hired by the Clintons, to put together the phony made-up claims about Donald Trump, because Clinton went to Russia to get dirt on Trump, and then you guys used it. So, I mean, you're the useful idiots that Joy Blackface Behar was talking about here. Just amazing. Election night, they were very upset.
The mood is somber here inside the Javits Center. A number of supporters have left in tears. I've been walking around. People have stunned expressions on their faces. One person described it as grief setting in.
Grief setting in. They had a glass ceiling there. Remember, they had the fake glass ceiling at the Javits Center? And I like a little walk down memory lane here. You remember President Trump offered to buy Hillary Clinton's fireworks from her for 10 cents on the dollar? Now, that was some funny stuff. That's professional grade comedy there. They had bought from the Chinese, of course, unless they got their fireworks from the Russians. Most people get their fireworks from the Chinese. And they had a fireworks display, a barge full of fireworks, and they're like, maybe no fireworks. And President Trump, then Citizen Trump, offered to buy the fireworks from them for 10 cents on the dollar because he thought it was funny. And here's the thing. It was funny. Democrats are never funny. They're just mean and vicious and nasty and vituperative. I said vituperative. And then they lost, and ashes, they all fall down. And they were crying and sobbing and whining, and there were people walking around crying, and it was hilarious. And a lot of us were up late that night watching this unfold, and like, this isn't really happening, and it's really happening, and it's really happening. And they started falling apart on set at CNN and at MSNBC and at the networks, the commercial entertainment broadcast networks. They were just coming apart at the seams. There's Bob Schieffer is already talking about how Russia's going to be happy. Why would Russia be happy? That's the stupidest thing anybody ever said. Schieffer, what's the matter with you, you dimwit?
It's hard to be a parent tonight for a lot of us. You tell your kids, don't be a bully. You tell your kids, don't be a bigot. You tell your kids, do your homework and be prepared.
You tell your kids Hillary's going to win. You tell your kids it's in the bag. We fixed it. You tell your kids Hillary's a good person. You lie a lot to your kids. That was Van Jones? He's self-described as a communist, right? And then was brought into the Obama administration. Am I right about that? Those two facts that I'm right about? Those are two facts that I'm definitely right about. 3 years ago today, and they were sobbing and crying. I remember going to bed at, it must have been 2-something a.m. It was a done deal, certainly by 1:30. Associated Press had called. I think the New York Times called they refused to call Trump the winner, but they just said, all right, he won Michigan. All right, he won Wisconsin. Okay, he won. And then they just went home crying because they were crying too. Amazing stuff. That was a great night. It was 3 years ago today. 3 years ago today. Just a little walk down. And the glass, and they had the balloon drop. Remember, they had the fake glass ceiling up on the Javits Center in New York. Has a glass that's kind of like an atrium ceiling in this giant place. And all the Democrats were there, and that includes all the news media. And one of the great things to watch was, and literally there were almost no news media at the Trump headquarters, because they're like, screw him, we defeated him. We're going with the winner that we helped secure the victory for Hillary Clinton's headquarters. There's a funny thing. Remember Mark Halperin? He likes to rub his loin on unsuspecting young women at work and threaten them with their careers if they don't accommodate his sexual whims. Remember that? And that went on for years, and everybody knew it. At ABC News, it went on forever. And NBC News, they hired him away from ABC already knowing this because they're pigs, and they're hypocrites, and they're liars, and they abuse women. It's like Animal House. I'm not Dean Wormer, I'm not saying we didn't take liberties with the women. We did. There's, say, Halperin and the people at ABC, they're just like Delta House. It's okay. Pay no attention to the loin behind the curtain. But Halperin was there. He had, of his many $1 million TV shows, he had one on Showtime with Sig Heilman, who comes from a long line of Sig Heilemans. And that show from election night is hilarious to watch. And one of the elements that's hilarious, if you get Showtime, you can get them on demand, this show, The Circus. I don't know how you find the one from election night, but it's funny. And Halperin took a break from rubbing his loin on unsuspecting young women at work and went to Hillary's headquarters to spend the evening smugly. And he was sitting there realizing things were going south on him and his party. And he got on the horn and started yelling at a producer to get him his credential for the Trump headquarters, which we then learned he had not bothered to procure. He had not bothered to secure a credential for Trump headquarters. Why would you? So some 20-year-old had to go running around crashing into stuff to find his credential because he was too arrogant to collect it himself. And then he went over to Trump headquarters where you could see the tears in his eyes. He was like that crying Indian looking at litter along the side of the highway. It was very sad and damn funny. It was very, very funny. And that was the one they had that guy. Who was that? That twerp from the Obama White House sitting on the curb crying. Oh, yeah, it was Ben Rhodes. His brother was president of CBS at the time. Yeah. Did you see that this guy Bennett, the Democrat from Colorado, who is allegedly running for president of the United States as a Democrat, not that anybody's noticed, his brother is the editor of the New York Times. Yeah, it's not a circle fest or anything like that. Not a chance.
I just came outside to try to process all this.
Ben Rhodes.
It's a lot to process.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. You're an idiot. I guess you believed liars.
I can't even. I can't.
Take a pill.
I mean, I
open a vein.
I can't.
Find a bridge.
He's
a speechwriter.
Put it into words. I don't know what the words are.
I do. I can't say them here, but I know what they are. That was Ben Rhodes. He was just. Honestly, it's like his whole community had been blown up in a giant truck bomb attack by radical Islamic jihadis or something. And he'd call them innocent victims of Western imperialism, I think. That was 3 years ago tonight. It was just wonderful. It was great. And they had the fake glass ceiling, the Clinton people did in the Javits Center, and they were going to fake break it. And then all the glass was going to rain down on their fans and kill them all, cut them to shreds. I don't know. That wasn't a very good plan in the first place, I think. And there was going to be a big balloon drop. And the balloons just stayed there. The balloons, I don't know who got the balloons the next day, but they didn't drop because then you remember Hillary and Bill came out the next day and they both had puffy eyes, like they just both were up all night finding out they've been cheating on each other for years or something like that. And they came down and they were wearing purple. Remember that? Which is, it was a dog whistle to Putin because purple is Putin's color. The news media overlooked that. Just kidding. I made that up. It's supposed to be, red, blue, purple, but we don't use red, blue. We use blue and gray. And the Democrats are gray, like they were in the old days when they were the Confederacy, and we are blue. Now, I have, you have another fun one? Let's see.
It is as if the nation is enduring some kind of curse. What should we expect next? That it will rain frogs? I wouldn't bet against it.
Wow. I guess Bob Schieffer was really disappointed, wasn't he? CBS News was a little upset that Trump won. Pestilence. Yeah, well, I don't know. You guys have been spreading herpes for quite a long time now. Because, herpes raining from the sky. I'm not sure. Whatever you guys have, not sure it'll come off.